Hello, I'm delighted to be here. My first encounter in Cluj is already from 12 years ago. I was leading Innovative, that was a leading standard solution provider for investment management solutions in Europe. And our solutions at that time are still running everywhere. And I started to do, like a lot of companies, I started to do outsourcing in Cluj. That is how it started. But I'm a product man. And yeah, after it, I came across some outsourcing companies, but always I tried to transform them into solution companies, and that didn't work out. That's not a problem. I learned a lot that it's almost impossible to transform yourself from a services company to a product company. So if there are young people that want to start somewhere, better start where you want to end up. I'm talking about Fintech. I'm not talking about our company, Red to Blue, a product company, but of course some stuff will be related also to our company. Well, let's start to look back, and now I'm supposed to have music here, but it doesn't work, so we're looking back at a wonderful time we all experienced since 2007. And yeah, just let the lines flow into you so that we can get in a good mood for the rest of the presentation. So Fintech just came not just from somewhere, it started with this. Yeah, Lehman, Fannie Mae, Citigroup, Merrill Lynch, and some Europeans, yeah, there they are, ABN AMRO, Fortis. It's a chronological, that is. So I'll stop in 2008 and we continue to today. Here's why, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. So this is where we came from, and this is why Fintech these days, I think, is the largest niche where most investments go to. It's 12 billion in 2014. So something is going on there. What is going on is that that we can see all kind of innovations that have taken place already in other sectors like media, music industry, very visible. Did not happen in finance yet. Why not? Very easy, actually. It's about power, it's about money, and everything went well. So let I show you, there are a lot of legacies in finance. We're facing an IT legacy, we have a cultural legacy, organizational legacy, historical and political. And things were really going good. We're talking about a credit crisis, a euro crisis, but let me tell you, there never was a credit crisis, there never was a euro crisis. What there was a fatal system crash. And that was caused by increased complexity. So this is not a bad thing. We took everything that was possible, we found out in this system. But when a system gets too complex and you don't invest in IT, for instance, as you know, most banks run still on systems that are developed in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Those are the backbones. Of course, this is very unrespectable to your customers. When you log on to ING, for instance, and you have 3 children and you're unemployed, you see exactly the same screens and the same functionality as when you are a CEO and you are a multimillionaire. This is not what it's about. So you can imagine a lot has to be done in this sector. Well, we saw the past, and now we are talking to, let's see what consumers today think about this, or how they perceive the sector. Actually, they saved. The banks that didn't go down were saved by governments, they were saved by taxpayers. What is interesting that, until just a few years ago, banks, other financial institutions, they were trusted brands. It changed very fast. That is the combination of people that grow up with internet. They have different behavior, they make different choices, they demand transparency compared to what our parents experienced. But also, of course, these crises that we experienced help. What we can see now the past years is that an increasing number of people are open and are not interested in a brand anymore, but they are open to all kinds of new initiatives. And especially the young people, 72% is willing to move to initiatives that are not banks, but where they can do their transactions. And what about the bankers then? Because they're still there in the ecosystem. How do they look upon it? Well, that's very easy. A lot of them, they drowned, and some of them were saved by you guys. And what is very interesting, did they learn from it? Are they going to change things? I think that's the biggest problem, as you can also see here. Most of the bankers I know, they are just waiting to everything to be turned into normal, in their words. And of course, they are starting up accelerators or new initiatives. But if it's in your genes to act in a certain way or to treat your customers in a certain way, it's not about good or bad or right or wrong. It is about did you learn, what did you experience, and can you change? That's not very easy because you need a deep personal transformation. I think the future of finance and of a bank is about purpose, about authenticity, and about love. And love, of course, is in many ways, love is about respect for your customers and knowing what you are doing and for whom you are doing. And like I told you before, when you log on, you're the CEO of a company, and you log on to ING, you see the same, and you see you can do investments, you can earn everything, than somebody that has a totally different background. That's not respect yet. That's not love, actually. Deep transformation by the banks. No, of course not. That's not going to happen. You know who's going to do that? Surprise! That's you guys. Why? Because you've got everything to make a difference, to start up. Because you got technology, you're young, you're not brainwashed yet, so you can define the future of finance. And what is that? Now, like I told you, it's a power shift. It's put people into power, take them seriously, and the only thing you do is for them. And on the other hand, you don't have to do it because people change. Individually and organized in groups, communities, companies, they take control of this power balance. We'll give you some examples later on. People in the driver's seats, bankers in the back seat. So you create the control shift. And banks, they have only one way. That's not up front, that is in the back. And that means that the only thing that is left for them is operational excellence. And that's not a bad thing, that's a wonderful thing. All the knowledge about ruling, legislation, they discovered all complex products, which nobody wants anymore, but the knowledge is there. The only thing is people are going to take care of themselves and of each other. So their way is to move to the back. Like I told you, it's not only individually, people will organize themselves. They will save together, lend together, they purchase together, and they will share risks together. Everything that is in social communities, like a Facebook, like LinkedIn, that already is a commodity, you know. Everybody's leaving those, the youth is leaving those platforms, wonderful platforms, mind me, but all this technology is there to stay. This technology will be used in closed user groups that have a purpose where it's interest. So my vision is, a lot of other people's vision is, that in a few years' time you will choose 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever number of communities where you will do your stuff. You will do everything on Facebook and LinkedIn, but that is because you believe in something, you work somewhere, and you will also do finance there. Another interesting aspect, which is the foundation of Fintech, is that who is the owner of your data, your financial data, that's stored at the bank? In Europe, that is very easy. The bank owns your data. At this very moment, an important law on European Union level is on the table, and this is about this particular subject. Can you imagine what happens if this law ends up in you being the owner of your own data, with all the new initiatives? And, oh yeah, and it won't surprise you that 2 of the largest, or maybe they are the largest, the people from US give me a hint, they have a huge lobby going on to get this law working. That's Google and that's Apple. And of course it's about Apple Pay and the new financial activities of Google. I had a lunch, not that I'm so important, with the how do you call that? The chairman of ING. And there were other people. And he asked me, what do you think the most remarkable is? This is 2 years ago. And I said, yeah, I found out there is a company in the world that's not a bank, but it opened already in 100 countries. They gained a banking license. Each banking license costs you 20 to 30 million euros to achieve it. And they don't do anything with it. So this guy, he said, you're kidding. What company is that then? I said, that's Google. And also in Amsterdam, a few weeks ago. So I went home, and an hour later, somebody from the bank called me, and he said, what did you tell him? He panics here. And he just gave a call to the director from Google Netherlands to come over and tell him what happens. So this is very funny. This is also, a lot of banks, they lived with their curtains closed, and they were doing their thing. Not about good or bad or right or wrong, this is how it was. Today, 180 countries, Google, full banking license, doing nothing with it. Near future, banks move to the back. I think they have to merge, concentrate on operational excellence, and lots of new initiatives will be up on the front. Fintech is dead, long live. Finance is dead, I'm sorry. Fintech will be dead a few years later. Long live Fintech. We see 3 main categories. We see a category where the current banks try almost in panic. They start accelerators and they invest in young startups to create new innovative stuff. My experience is that they don't know why they do it. It's partly looking good. But yeah, is it part of the transformation? Because a lot of people there, they think it will be as before, back to normal. Others, and I don't say that I know it, but that's how I experience it. We get independent extensions on top of banking services. So they are already creating the shift, banks to the back, people to the front. And we have new initiatives that replace financial services. This is already 2 years old. There are 10,000 of these things going on. In categories like lending, of course, you've all heard about crowdfinance. We launched the first professional crowdfunding platform in the Netherlands, so we did some experience. Payments, personal finance, equity finance, they are wonderful initiatives. I think 95% will not exist in 2 years' time, but that's not a problem. That's how it works. I've just picked some initiatives. We have Mint, that's about personal finance management, goal planning, budgeting. That is an initiative that is on top of the current financial industry, but it makes it transparent. You can keep track of all your deposits at several different accounts in one place. So this is a beautiful example where you put people in the driver's seat and you push the banks to the back end. Betterment, actually the same, goal planning, but it's about real investments. Crowd finance, everybody saw Lending Club, that you cannot have missed that, I think. It's peer-to-peer. Another interesting European one is Symbit. There you help SMEs, this crowdfunding, like Kickstarter, but it's not a loan. You get equity. So you become a co-owner of the startups. That's not allowed in US, for instance, but they're working hard to get that through the politics. But it's a very interesting one. And there's another one, Munt Mortgages, that is in the Netherlands, and that's about crowd mortgage. There, where the banks are not allowed, or they don't want to take as much risk as they used to with lending you money to buy your house, people stand up, initiatives stand up, where you can facilitate your own mortgage partly. Of course, we are at variables. You can imagine what will happen. There are already, of course, we have a banking app, etc., but we didn't even yet start it. And this is where, we all together have to make a difference, because the more easier, the more funnier, and the more profitable we can make financial services and make it close to you, this will be very important. Just some themes. I'm looking at my time. It's interesting to look at robo-analytics. What does that mean? I'll come with an example later on. And what about physical health decisions, sports engines? When you make a decision, you get a signal, hey, you've got to sell some shares here because this is happening in the market. A lot of people, especially when they have a wearable, they want to say, okay, I have to push the button. You can combine this with your heartbeat. And if your heartbeat shows you a status that you're emotional or you're in a hurry, it should protect you from making this decision. I think this is a very interesting area. Networking finance, I skipped that one. And people like me, it's very important that you can ask, as an entrepreneur, for instance, to the platform, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm in IT, I'm a startup, what insurances do other people or entrepreneurs like me have? Then you can compare yourself. There's a lot to do in that sector, in that area. This is an interesting one. When you have money left that you want to save, you used to go to one bank and put it there because you can only put it with one bank. But what about the fact that the saving amount, where are you interested in? It should be secure, and for the rest, you only want the highest interest. So why not build a platform that 24/7, in line with your preferences, look for the highest interest? This is not there, guys, so startup. Also, planning will be very important. We see some initiatives, but it's only just started. You can personalize it even more and can bring it very close to what people moves. It's about financial well-being for people. It's not because bankers want to make money. That stops. To give you a slight indication about what is going on, like you see, it's 12 billion in 2014. You see how this grows, these investments. So this is also very interesting to be there. And these are the countries in Europe where we see these activities and these investments. So the biggest thing is happening in London. Actually, there are 3 or 4 large hubs where it's happening. It's in London, it's in New York, it's in Zurich, and in Singapore. Amsterdam is coming up there. Well, you know this guy. I'm more a Jobs fan, but this was a sensible remark he made. And hey guys, this is why I am here. I work in a Romanian, Dutch, US, or actually global company. We're making platforms, we're making products, and we want to move the world forward. We want to give more purpose, more authenticity, and we want to be a world where love matters, where it's the most important thing. Because if you want it or not, this is going to happen. We need brains. We need passion. Not we as a company, but we need this as human beings. I want to thank you very much. It was an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronald. I think that's unique that somebody in finance says that love matters more than money. So that's fantastic. Okay, so while we get our next speaker all set up, I'll ask for one question from the audience. So,
I want to ask you about another fintech trend, that decentralized currencies. And I not mean about Bitcoin. I mean about currencies like Stellar, like startups like Stripe. They use them in order to make more transparent, to get trust of the users, and to make a decentralized exchange.
You're talking about blockchain?
No, about decentralized.
Local currencies?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's happening. I was told that every 2 months a new local currency is installed in the UK, for instance. So this is also typical for the shift that is taking place. But what is very interesting to look up, like Bitcoins, is blockchain, where it's not only about money, but it's also about goods. It's about an open book on the internet. A lot of people are working on that, so I expect a lot from that, and a lot that will disrupt the bank. It distangles a lot of services from financial institutes. But I think it's a wonderful development.
So how many Bitcoins do you own?
2. No.
Anyway, okay. Thank you very much
for
coming here.